Hi, Oliver here. I hope you're well and are enjoying a good week. In this video, I wanted to share some insight with you from a Navy SEAL that I found very interesting. It's not something I've really come across before, and having practiced it myself yesterday, I thought it's worth sharing as you also might find it quite interesting. As you probably guessed, the Navy SEAL isn't me. Um, Especially with these guns, there's no way. But before we get into that, you probably noticed that the background in this video is a bit different to normal. What I thought would be interesting to do is each time I do a video, put up some artwork from a member of the wingman community and have a quick kind of discussion as to what they're all about. So this artwork is by a contemporary artist based in Ipswich called Isaac Kidd. His artwork's very fresh, very modern, very imaginative. And one thing that caught my eye particularly is that during lockdown, he came up with this postcard project. And actually what you see behind me is a blown up version of my very own postcard that I've received from Isaac. And he says, ultimately, with this collection of handcrafted postcards, I hope to inspire creativity in others, challenging you to create yourself and to talk, communicate to help others. So if you go to Isaac's website, you'll see the postcard project there, and also his original artwork and paintings. Go and have a look, and you know what to do if you see something you like. Bye. So back to the main crux of the video. We all know that pursuing any type of vision or artistic career is not always straightforward. You know, we've all heard the cliches, success is never a straight line, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And the reason that these cliches are there in quantity is it's really true. You know, if you're really going after something that means something to you, it isn't always going to be straightforward. And there might be moments where you kind of hit the wall, or you know, lack energy or motivation to carry on. So as you would imagine, there's a range of techniques out there that you can engage with to, you know, help push through that wall, if you like. But this one is something that's very simple and straightforward, but I've not really encountered it before. So the Navy SEAL in question is a gentleman called David Goggins. It's quite likely you've maybe already seen some of his videos, but just to read quickly from his Wikipedia page, it says David Goggins is an American ultra marathon runner. And actually the artist who told me about David Goggins, Richard Day, I think he said that when he ran his first ultramarathon, he didn't realize he had a hole in his heart. But this guy is so incredibly motivated and really knows how to keep his mind in good shape no matter what he's facing, that, you know, that he somehow ran through all that, which is quite amazing. So he's an ultramarathon runner, ultra distance cyclist, triathlete, public speaker and author. He's a retired United States Navy SEAL and former United States Air Force Tactical Air Control Party member who served in the Iraq War. So that's David Goggins. If you haven't seen some of his videos on YouTube, go and have a look. They're really quite something. David's got a very powerful presence about him that I find very motivating and inspiring. So back to this specific insight that we're talking about from David Goggins. He says that at the time of suffering, you need to kind of pause and have a clear moment of thought to bring up your who the fuck I am resume. Because he's saying no matter what situation you're in, no matter how tired you're feeling, he says you can guarantee that you've done stuff harder than this before and that you've come out the other side. So he just says, when you're in that moment of suffering, just take that moment to have this clear recollection of what you've been through previously to get to where you are now. And then he says, through this process, your mind and body will say, we got this, we've been here before, and it's the best reminder in the world of how capable you are. So putting this into practice, just have a think now about what you've been through already to get to where you are today, right now. What struggles have you had to overcome, either internally or externally? So depending on what you're doing and what your ambition is and what path you're following, that could be a whole range of things. So if you're a visual artist, it could just be looking back through your portfolio of artwork. You know, what was the first piece where you had that kind of eureka moment or that satisfaction that, yeah, this is the direction I want to go in, having maybe spent months or years developing you know, pieces that weren't quite hitting the spot to finally hit that that one kind of breakthrough eureka piece. You could alternatively go back through your emails and find the email that confirmed that first yes from someone, whether it was a gallery or a strategic partner, or we all have moments where we need to ask people for things, and a lot of the time people say no. So yeah, maybe it's just a case of finding that email where you got the first big yes, having, you know, persisted through several no's. It could be your first exhibition, your first sale. You know, maybe you struggled in the first few months or years even in terms of selling, and then you have that first big breakthrough. What did that feel like, having, you know, gone through those months of struggle beforehand? Or maybe it's something completely outside of the artistic space, artistic arena, particularly if you're early on in your artistic career. What examples can you find from other moments in your life that kind of demonstrate that toughness and that persistence that led on to something good? So I always like to practice what I preach. So when I watched this particular video from David Goggins, I thought, oh yeah, I'll give that a try next time I'm feeling a bit tired or a bit worn out or whatever. And yesterday was one of those days. I had a very heavy week last week, and you know, it was just, I think, a little bit physically tired and hitting that wall. So what I decided to do, I went into an external hard drive from about 10 years ago to remind myself of some of the things that I did, and one of them was an investment pitch I gave back in 2013 that was recorded on camera, and it was in front of an audience of maybe 50 or 100 people, and an audience of music record label publishing executives. So it's quite a scary thing, being a relatively, you know, naturally anxious person myself. That was really something to kind of worry about. But then when I watched this recording back yesterday, I was like, you know, this guy isn't half bad, you know. And having persisted through that pain of anxiety and uncertainty and nervousness, you know, reminding myself a few months later I did secure investment, and, you know, the presentation itself was good. I was sitting there thinking, yeah, I might give that guy some money myself. So then beyond that, I was looking for maybe slightly more recent examples, and I found on my desk some memorabilia from or some keepsakes from the first time I attended an international art fair, which was in New York. It was also the first time I'd done a transatlantic flight and traveled to the States. So again, you know, I was anxious about, you know, a great number of things, but now I look back, I've still got the plane ticket here, I've got the pass that we had to the art fair, which was Monaco Art Fair 2019, and, you know, again, it's just a really nice reminder. Goggins' advice really does work. I've only got to look at these things and think, God, I remember how anxious and uncertain I was about it, and ended up having the best time. You know, every day was a new challenge, new people, new energy, and you know, just look back on it very fondly, and it was a very successful week in a number of different ways. Next to that as well, I've got a pass from Microsoft. So I think not long after we came back from New York, we with an artist tried to set up a meeting with Microsoft, and then when we got the meeting, again, you know, you're always slightly anxious or not been in an establishment's headquarters like this before, and what's going to happen and so on. But again, it was one of the most fun days we ever had. You know, we had a really good meeting with the owner of the flagship store at Microsoft, and then he gave us a VIP tour. We got to sit in a McLaren Senna that was hooked up to an Xbox, have some fun in that. We got to try out like a 20 grand gaming chair. We got to see all the latest like virtual reality. Yeah, and again, I've only got to look at that and remember I was a bit, you know, unsure beforehand, and look back now and it was a really fun day. So there we go. And the next time you kind of hit the wall, or you're low on energy, or you're low on motivation, try David Goggins' advice of just taking a few, even if it's just a few seconds, to have a really clear recollection of some of the struggles you've had to overcome in the past to get to where you are today. And you'll be amazed to see how quickly your mind and body establishes a new platform for itself, which is certainly the case for me, having looked back on these investment pictures and just gone through these various passes and plane tickets and stuff. Remember, you know, I've you know, been through some anxieties before and come out the other side extremely strong, and certainly the difference in me has been night and day between yesterday and today. So give it a try the next time you're feeling a bit low or hit that wall. As ever, if you've got any questions or uncertainties or challenges within your artistic practice or your artistic career that you want to talk through with somebody, just head to theartistwingman.com, and on the website there you can book a free consultation with me to discuss anything in relation to your artistic practice and career. Thanks for watching, best wishes for a good week ahead, and see you soon.